Hi, my name's Bruce Stevens, and what I'd like to discuss today is whether men are cruel in relationships. I'm a therapist, and I've often heard women say that that's their experience. Well, let me say the first thing is women are also cruel in relationships. And I suspect that most of what we experience as cruelty is in fact unintentional. People are not aware of how much is at stake for another person in a relationship. Now, this can be due to a lot of psychological factors. One is simply not aware, not concerned. Perhaps the relationship isn't important to one party when it's much more important to the other. Another is a concept of emotional intelligence. Not everybody has an equal endowment of emotional intelligence. So you may have entered a relationship with someone who in fact doesn't have high emotional intelligence and is not aware of the impact of their actions on you. Their empathy may in fact not be a strong point. So what I would suggest though is even to try and look at this just a little bit more nuanced, is to look at your part in the relationship. It's possible that you have misjudged the other person's emotional commitment to the relationship. You in fact may have way too much at stake. This is often talked about as unrequited love. In other words, you are more invested in the relationship than your partner or intended, and therefore, because they're acting on the basis of their as you say, their investment, which might be quite minimal, then they come across to you as cruel and hurtful, which is hardly surprising. But there is another, maybe a more disturbing question, and that is, are people attracted to mean people? I suspect that's actually true. I think there's a bit of a fantasy to think, this person's the bad boy, and I can tame them or make them more loving. In fact, that is a bit of a fantasy, but often the nice men out there are too boring. So that's worth at least thinking a little bit about, whether you have got a fantasy, whether you're attracted to the bad boys. I've noticed in therapy that very often just terrible, violent men never have trouble attracting women. I know it's probably politically incorrect to say that, but the reality is they just have to go back to the pub, sort of say I'm available again, the last person they've been with has escaped some shelter or something, and they've got someone lining up to be with them. It's disturbing but true. Ask any therapist. Now, in schema therapy, we do look at, has a distinct perspective on this, because we look at childhood patterns. We look at such as mistrust abuse. People are much more willing to be in abusive relationships than perhaps others, and based on their experience. Insufficient self-control can lead to very cruel interactions with people. Grandiosity and entitlement's another schema in which people just believe that everything is due to them. And even, in fact, punitiveness is yet another schema which can be quite harsh and unyielding in a relationship. Now, there's another question which we'll wait for another video clip, is whether my partner is a psychopath. And that's yet another one, so stay tuned. Thank you.